On today's episode of Performance TV, we make our cars loud, keep our engines moving, and we get to see robots take over the turbo industry.
Welcome to this week's Performance TV here at Precision Turbo and Engine in Hebron, Indiana. You know, we've had a chance to visit and see all kinds of really cool things here. But Harry, what I have been so excited to watch is this technology that you have brought in, and this is robot. Why a robot?
Well, robots are pretty consistent, and that's what we need in this industry is consistency. Making parts, improving the process, really those cost savings are passed right down to our customer.
You know, because you think a performance type thing, we've seen all the other great machines and everything else, but I mean, this thing is just amazing. It's working 24 hours a day.
Yes, this is a lights out operation. And when we started working on this, we were thinking, well, how are we going to be able to reduce our costs and increase our capacity at the same time? So the answer is very simple, is go to lights out situation. Robotics, the technology that we can get today is so advanced and very simple to step into if you just work with the right people, and that's what we've done here.
I was going to say, because, you know, you can have an idea, but like, oh, cool, I'd really like to do that, but I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, we like to step out of the box. You know, we were lucky to have a local company, Ellison Technologies, come in here and lay out a program for us and say, hey, here's how you can do it, here's what it's going to cost, now we're implementing it, game on. You
know, and I see this robot at this particular point in time is working on one part. Now, are you able to do more than just one part on this machine?
Yes, this machine is currently only going to be booked for about 4 months. Then we'll start adding more and more to it, but we're already doing our back plates for the turbochargers, we're doing bearing housings for the turbochargers, next is compressor covers. Almost every part that we're going to put on here has a minimum value of 8,000 pieces a year.
Wow.
It's going to save weeks. Just the back plate alone that we're currently working on is going to save us over 22 weeks of machine time in 2016.
Well, you know, and with racers and folks that, you know, have their street rides and whatever, when they call up Precision Turbo, they want to be able to get their parts, which we've seen how you guys keep all of this stuff in stock. And by adding technology like this, that's just helping get them out on the track and out on the road that much quicker.
You know, it really does. And we like to be able to ship in 24 hours, and that's really challenging in this industry because our order board is what's tomorrow. We don't have a 1 week or a 2 week or a 3 week order board. What we have ordered today has to ship in 24 hours one way or another, and it's really challenging for us to do that.
Well, your whole facility is fantastic, and the room that we're standing in, this new building for you guys, I see there's different sections on the floor. What would that all be about?
That's for expansion. You know, this is our first CNC robotic lights out machine, but we actually have the ability to put 4 more stations, and then that's why every pad that in this room is isolated from one machine to the next.
Well, we see the robot inside, but it's working with a bunch of other machines.
Yes, it is. We have, of course, the robot picking up raw materials. Then it puts it into the CNC that machines the parts and turns it into a finished good. From there, it has to go through a wash station, so we've got to clean it.
Right.
From there, we go and dry it, so it goes through a dryer station. And then finally, it goes onto a CMM, which is a Zeiss. And the CMM actually measures the part and then talks back to the turning center that actually machines the part. They're all interactive and they're all working together to make good parts.
So if the machine that's measuring it finds something that may be off just a tiny bit, it can correct before the next one's made.
Yes, it's the measuring machine is programmed with the parameters of what's a good part, and then that is communicated back to the turning center, so the turning center actually makes an automatic adjustment to bring it back to a perfect part.
Wow.
And then the cycle just keeps going.
Keeps going, because I noticed that there's more than one part going at any point in time, the way it's kind of working back and forth.
Yeah, there's 3 parts in operation in different stages of cleanliness and operate all the time.
Well, you know, we name race cars. Did you ever name the robot?
No, we haven't named it yet.
Just had to ask.
Have you got an idea?
Oh, we might by the end of the segment here. But just everything that you guys are continuing to do to step above and to keep going. And you know what? It's not just the turbos. I mean, you have such a background in fuel injection and everything else. The recipe that you put together for whether it's someone on the track or someone out on the street, it's just mind-boggling.
Well, our mission here, number 1 goal, is to exceed our customers' expectations. And this is just part of what it takes to do that.
and you're just continuing to grow. It's like I see no place for stopping here.
Well, we just like to keep our head down. We don't worry about what the competition. If we do our job and we meet our customers' expectations or exceed them, we're going to have the world records and we're going to have the world champions in our pocket. And that's what you're seeing all around us. And that's the success of us. We build on our reputation. And that's what really matters in racing.
That's right, and what a great recipe you have for doing just that
Thank
here
you.
at Precision Turbo. I've just so much enjoyed all of our visits, and you know what? We have so much more to enjoy back at the studio. We'll have more on Performance TV right after this.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. AP Laser, leading the way. JRI Shocks, a new era in racing shocks. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Hey, welcome back to Performance TV. And as the name says, we are into performance. So how about a little more horsepower, a little more torque out of our Dodge Hemi truck that we have? So we're going to install a JBA performance exhaust system and run new exhaust all the way back. We're going to start off with some long tube headers. They're ceramic coated, CNC flanges. It comes with everything that you need for the kit, right down to your new O2 sensor hookups, and we're even going to top it off, do it right the first time, with our Stage 8 locking fasteners. Now this is the driver's side, but Dave, he's already got started on the passenger side.
JBA headers have a lot of advantages. With me is Dwayne from Third Strike Performance to tell us about some of those.
Okay, well these are specifically designed for the 09 up Dodge Rams. You notice they got a solid 3/8 inch flange all the way around versus some of the cheaper headers which have multi-pieces and they're thin, they warp real easy. These won't warp that easy. Then you got an additional welding around the circumference of the exhaust opening so it puts more pressure against the gasket, give you a better seal. It also has notches at the bottom of it so you can put the bolts in the block and slide the header down on it. And the good thing about it is the gaskets that come with it have the exact same feature, so you can hang the header, slide the gasket in there and put your top bolts in and tighten everything up. You're good to go.
All right, well, let's get this in there.
All right, let's do it.
Coming at you.
The slots in here allow you to slide the header down over the bolts easier.
Let's get this top here.
Oh, no, look, where's my...
I know this has got ceramic covering on it.
Yep.
It's inside and outside, right?
Yes, to reduce the heat from the thing.
Yeah.
Now, we're fixing to put the Stage 8 bolts in here. The Stage 8 bolts, they got a locking mechanism on them, keep the bolts from backing out. And they're made out of stainless. Anytime you put stainless bolts into aluminum, you want to put a little anti-seize on them, keep them from galding up and seizing up inside there. So you just put a little dab on there and screw it in.
All right. Now, I've seen a lot of headers coated on the outside, but I haven't seen many coated on the inside.
Now, these are new from JBA. Where's the rest of the bolts?
Oh, they're right there. And you've got headers, and you've got a lot of different products, don't you?
Yes, sir. We carry virtually anything there out there made for Dodge Rams, Fords, Chevys, whatever. If it's not on our website, just give me a call. We'll find it for you.
And what years you cover mainly?
Usually, most of the stuff we carry from like 96 up because the older stuff is getting so hard to find. Here we go. You got one more there.
All right.
I think.
There you go. I might be able to
I
get that
can't see
easier
it.
for you. So we're just going to lightly snug these up a little by little. You don't want to grab just one and torque it down
Yeah,
because you
it's a-
might warp it, right?
Yeah, you start from the center and go out just like you do on a head or a wheel or anything else. You want to start in the center and work your way out.
You get the top, I'll get the bottom. How you doing up there?
I got all these pretty much tight.
All right,
I don't have them super tight. I got them snug down.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to borrow your
Oh, yeah.
wrench when you get done there, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
really need a torque wrench to torque them to. So I'm gonna start tightening these up here in the middle.
Okay. You torque these down to 18 pounds.
Well, it doesn't really specify on these. You know, I've always just found that you Tighten them down as tight as you can get them. It usually works good.
Alrighty. Let me borrow that boy, and I'll get this guy on the bottom here for us.
So the guys need to finish up the passenger side and still get the driver's side put on, plus the Y-pipe to get this exhaust system buttoned up. We'll have that and more on our Dodge truck right after this on Performance TV. Welcome back to Performance TV, where we are continuing to finish off our exhaust system on our Dodge truck. Joining us is Alex Borland. Alex, now we're ready to put it all through. We have the headers on, but we really need for it to sound great. And adding a Borla exhaust system, we're going to get a little more torque and a little more horsepower because of all of the technology that you guys put in your exhaust systems.
You have graduated to the point now where I think you can start teaching me about these systems.
Oh,
because
I don't know.
You've at least explained it to the viewers enough times to what these things really, really are.
You know, and we're looking forward to putting this system on for, this particular one is an S-type. Borla offers several different sound levels depending on what level of driving excitement you would like to have in your vehicle. This gentleman chose the S-type. What makes the difference between, say, the Touring and the S-type?
Well, let me first tell you that the muffler you're looking at today is not a muffler that was here a year ago. Okay, this is a dynamic activity in our company. We are continually improving the product. And the mufflers might appear to be the same, but internally, they're completely different.
Okay.
We have reinvented ourselves. Okay. In this particular instance, this is for a truck, and the trucks are used for work. And this gentleman especially uses his vehicle for work, and he travels long distances, and he cares about mileage, and he cares about performance.
Right.
Okay. So this is actually the perfect product for him. Okay. To answer your question specifically, is the S-type is for individuals' tastes who like a little louder sound out of the back of the vehicle. Okay. The Touring is for the people that really want quietness. They want the advantages of a performance exhaust system without the sound.
And you know, and something I've noticed with the S-type system, when you're getting into the throttle, you're going to get that sound, but still inside the cabin, once you're at cruising speed, you can hear it, but it's not overpowering, and it's just enough to know that you have it there. And Alex, the choice of materials that you use with Borla, that's why you have the 1,000,000-mile warranty, which is something you're not going to find with other high-performance exhaust companies.
Absolutely. Now, you know the type of stainless that we use.
Yes,
What is it?
Austenetic.
Fabulous. All right. Okay.
Which is what's going to make these systems last. And Alex, we're looking forward to putting this on. This is a 3-inch in, 2.5 out into the duals with a 5-inch tip, so it's going to fit right into the bumper. And I cannot wait to see how this is going to look on our Third Strike truck. And I think the boys are just getting started.
That's right, Kathy. We put a set of headers on the truck, but we're going to top it off with a great sounding and good looking Borla exhaust system. Dave, you want to grab this thing? We'll get started. We got our pipe up here.
Yeah, let me just get my clamp on.
All right. We're going to put the muffler on. All right, we got to go up and over the rear end housing. Then we'll guide that on.
Okay, I like this system. It just slides right over the other pipe.
Okay, now let me get my hanger before we go too far.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back some.
Right there. All right, first one's in now.
Okay, let me hold that to the
Yeah,
side.
slide that one over so I can get that one. Okay, come forward a little bit. Forward. All right. Whoop, you come out up front. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll just push that hanger forward and slide that.
Yeah, I lubed up all these up before, so it'd be a little bit easier. Used a little PB blaster on it. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned blaster in these rubber hangers because they're rubber. They can be a little tough to slide in sometimes.
Yeah, it
All
makes
right,
it
slide your
a lot
clamp
easier.
on.
All right. So one of the tricks that we do when we're putting this together is just snug this clamp down.
Yeah, we're going to have to move and tweak this system a little bit to get everything in place. So we don't want to tighten everything up just quite yet. Let me grab the clamp for this next piece.
Okay.
We got that. Now we can put the crossover tube over the housing.
All right, we're clearing all of our hoses.
Got my clamp on it. All right, you're going to need to lean that over a little bit.
All right. How's that looking?
It's getting there. A little bit more.
Come on, Poppy.
And we had that on there once.
Yeah, it was one. Okay.
There we go. That's a good reason not to tighten those clamps up. Let me slide it on down. All right.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just
Tighten
leave
that
it.
clamp up a little bit. snug
Okay.
it. I'll hold it there for you, make it a little easier.
Alrighty. I like these clamps. They're
AccuSeal.
Yeah.
Borla has their own patent on these clamps.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, it's a lot better than those ring ones that always seem to half clamp and, you know, always break and rust out.
It's a great seal. You don't want any exhaust leaks. You want a good sounding exhaust leak. There you go. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Borla systems are not only great sounding, but they're great looking. And one of the things I like is it even comes with an L on here. A dummy like me knows which side this goes on.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna slide this up. Got a clamp?
Yep, clamping. There you go.
All right. How we looking? Looking
Good, good.
All right.
How you doing in the back hanger?
I'm gonna get the hanger in here.
Okay.
All right, yep.
All right, good. Let me get a little, tighten that down
All right.
here.
Let me grab this other clamp. Real tight. They even bubble wrap the tips. You don't want this system coming in looking bad. They want it to look good all the time.
Like, those tips are nice and polished, so.
The sound of a Borla exhaust, they got all the different models.
Right, 3 different. Depending on what noise you want or how quiet you want it.
The thing I love the most about the Borla systems, when they build these, it's not just off of a drawing. They have actual vehicles. These things are put on a vehicle so you know it's going to fit when you take it out of the box, go put it on your car.
Yeah, they got a whole dedicated research and development in Oxnard, California.
All right, Dave, you want to help me slide this one in? You got that one?
Right?
We get this one in place. We can tighten up our clamps. And then we get to see how good this thing sounds. I'll tell you what, you want to go out and drive it once or twice and then come back and check the clamps. You want to torque them to about 35 foot-pounds. When we get that all done, we're going to have a great sounding vehicle. Hey, we got to take a quick break with Performance TV, but we'll be right back with more.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by EvapoRust, super safe rust remover. Z-Max, tested, trusted performance. Schumacher Electric, passionate commitment is the Schumacher way. And by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener.
Welcome to this week's Z-Max Micro Lubricant Minute. Tommy, you think about all the moving parts inside an engine, and if you were taking care of it properly with Z-Max, you wouldn't have to worry about, number one, with the pistons, the rings getting stuck, power loss, oil consumption. And you think about the camshaft. Well, it could be protected by Z-Max. You wouldn't have to worry about worn down lobes, which is going to cause power loss and that type of thing. And moving on to other parts that are moving around too. Those are looking pretty nasty.
We talked about Z-Max and how it penetrates metal and protects it because it increases lubricity of it. Stuff won't stick to it. What sticks to intake valves? Carbon buildup. You can see on these valves right here, tons of carbon buildup. These weren't treated with Z-Max. What you need is the seat. You can see with the seat, the carbon builds up on the seat. It doesn't allow it to seal. When you lose seal, you lose compression, you lose power. Z-Max will help protect this valve. It'll allow it to seal better, won't let carbon build up on it. It gets the varnish away from it, from the heat buildup of it.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to perform better, last longer, and what else? You want power.
You want power, which also equals into better fuel mileage and so much more because you're keeping and not losing compression. Find out what Z-Max can do for you, your engines from large to small. Just hop on their website at zmax.com.
Welcome to this week's EvapoRust Tip of the Week. This week we're here to talk about RustBlock, rust inhibitor.
RustBlock is a water-based rust inhibitor. It's safe, simple, easy to use, non-toxic. Unlike other rust inhibitors that are out there right now, it is water-based, so you're not going to have a problem with buildup or an oily film that's going to be on your part or tool, and it's not going to attract any dirt or lint.
It really is simple to use. All you have to do is take your RustBlock, spray it on your part, just like we're doing here, and let it dry on the surface. If we've got a part like this that is a part that we've de-rusted previously, we don't want that to rust back until we're ready to paint it. So we're just going to spray it down, let it dry. It's going to put a film on here that's not an oil or a grease, but that's going to keep that part from rusting for about a year. You can use it on parts like this. So you've got special bolts that you've got out and they've been de-rusted, they're ready to go. Spray them down. It's going to keep it from rusting for a year, and when you get ready to do something further with it, there's really not much you have to do to the surface. If you have tools, say you've got tools that are prone to rusting, spray them down with a rust block. Let it soak into the surface, dry on the surface, and now you won't even be able to feel it. It's not going to be greasy in your hands. It's safe, it's easy. It doesn't change the color of the metal at all. But the best part is when you get ready to remove this, instead of having to get a solvent, wipe it down with a solvent, worry if you've got little bits of oils or greases in places, simply take a wet towel, wipe it down, dry it. Now you're ready to paint.
It's also great on rotors. Say you want to store your classic car and you don't want to come out to your car and you've got those rusty, nasty looking rotors, spray them with rust block and it'll prevent it from re-rusting. So when you come back in spring, it looks like new.
To find out more about rust block, take a look at our website, evaporust.com.
Well, we're coming close to the end of the show, and Tommy, we have a little bit of business to take care of.
Yeah, Kathy, I tell you what, I've enjoyed Performance TV a lot. I've learned a lot. You know, to be honest, I've learned a lot on the show, and I hope we've entertained some viewers, but racing schedule was so busy. I feel like I got a lot of balls in the air and just so many things going on. It's time to step away for a little bit, but we're going to leave you in good hands.
That's right. Surfer Dave, you've joined us for a few episodes. Now, not going to be just a guest host, but you're going to be hosting the show. Give us a little bit of the background, because I know you've been around cars for a long time.
As soon as I could buy a car, I did. As soon as I could work on it, I spent all my money on it and all my time on it, and I've been doing nothing but since.
All right, well, you didn't tell him a whole lot of what it was really like to work with me, did you?
You got an interesting time coming.
That's okay.
Okay, Tommy, man, it's been great to work with you.
A lot of great stories and a lot of fun.
Oh, we'll see each other at the track.
You never know, I might even stop back every now and then.
Oh, that would be fun. And in the winner's circle, we'll see each other too. All right, that's all we got time for this time around. We will see you next week for more of Performance TV.